So that was one thing. And then, shoot, there was a second thing, but I forgot. So I guess that means it's time to be quiet and go to the man of the hour, who is Rambo. So let me get him on here. Rambo, how you doing?
Great. Appreciate it again.
Always welcome. Always welcome. Thank you.
It's Osama bin Laden's birthday today. Supposedly, that's the date they give for his birthday.
March 10th.
I doubt that's his birthday. Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, I doubt that's his birthday. He fits the ritual. But yeah, so I mean 9/11. So it's a very central ritual to the core, the esoteric core of this. What this is, sorcery. You can call it manipulating the matrix or whatever you want to call it. It's an epic ritual. It's it was now planned. Literally, it was planned for centuries. Maybe it took a while to locate New York, but so a lot of modern day events will still be tied into that. Like some people might say, "Why are you still talking about it?" It's relevant. It will be relevant from here on out. So I have three. I think these are pretty short posts that I did. I did three of them. One was about. This is based on a post that you did. You showed a tweet from Kamala Harris, where she's walking. I guess she's in the Capitol somewhere, and it's like it's blatantly obvious to the people in the truth community what this is about. It's there's a checkerboard floor, and she's walking in between twin pillars. I wanted to add a couple of things to that. There was a great commenter to your article. His name is Greg Ramsey, 74. He made a brilliant observation, which is that in the picture, and yeah, my posts are up on gematriaeffect.news. So you can see the visual is very important here. He observed, Greg Ramsey, 74, very brilliantly observed that her feet, one foot is on the fourth black square, and her other foot is on the sixth full black square. So that's a 4 and a 6, which is very relevant. That that pretty much summed up what the whole picture was about. In Freemasonry's most vivid symbol, which is the compass and square. The compass is actually not a compass. It's actually a divider, but it's just known as a compass. The compass and square. The square, which is the one on the bottom, represents the masculine. The square makes right angles, and squares and rectangles are considered masculine. So the 4-6, where her feet are on the 46, formed by Harris's feet, represent the male, and the square, Joe Biden, the 46th U.S. president. The divider, which is erroneously referred to as a compass, represents the feminine. The divider and compass make circular movements. The circle is feminine, as is the oval. The female divider compass in the Freemason symbol is open to 47 degrees. Kamala Harris's stride is at roughly 47 degrees. If you look at her legs, it's very close to 47 degrees. It's almost on the money. So Kamala Harris, clearly she represents the divider / compass, which is the female part of the logo. And because of it's at 47 degrees, that refers to her as the 47th president of the United States. So that's what that's about. And I show the Freemason entered apprentice tracing board, so you can see, if someone's not familiar, I think most people are, what the Masonic symbol is, the pillars and the checkerboard floor. Now there's an object on the wall between the two pillars. It looks like maybe a mail slot or something, but that represents Sirius, the star Sirius.
You know what, Rambo?
The blazing star.
Rambo, I'm gonna pause real quick, and I'm gonna clarify something, because I realize you're doing a great job because you're starting to pick up some haters. I realize there's some people following all of your posts and critiquing and trying to say that this is wrong. For people who want to research this, the Masonic Compass, there's a few different angles it's set at. It's commonly set at 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and also 47 degrees. And the 47 is particular to the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry out of France. And again, France in Gematria equals 47. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, DC is 47, and it was laid out very much so by the French Freemason L'Enfant. And remember, in the base ciphers, governments 47, authorities 47, Republicans 47, Democrats 47, presidents 47, White House is 47. So super special number. And again, Kamala very well could become the 47th president if something happens to Biden while he's in office, which seems very likely just based on everything about him. But yeah, so anyway, I just know your haters will jump on you, Rambo. They'll be like, that's not true, that 47, and it is true. But it's also at 45 degrees. Geometry is 45, so think about how much sense that makes. And then 60 degrees, the reason I think some compasses are set at 60 is because of the word order is 60, and we're talking about Masonic orders, Jesuit orders, the order of the universe being mathematics and geometry. And again, where do these silly beliefs come from, as some people might say? Again, it could be just like through things what happened to me today, and I'm sure happened to a million other people in the world if they were paying attention. But go ahead, Rambo. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I appreciate it. Also, this is one of the reasons I think it's important to know the names of the tools of geometry. The difference between a compass and a divider. A divider has 2 points on it. A compass has 1 point, and the other end has a scribe to it. So you point and you make a circle. So the tool in the Masonic symbol is not a compass because it doesn't have a scribe. And so if you acknowledge that it's a divider, one interpretation, and there are multiple interpretations for symbols, but one interpretation is that the divider stands for divide, and the square, which it has measurements on it like a ruler, symbolizes rule. So it's divide and rule. So it can be interpreted that way, especially if you acknowledge that that's a divider, not a compass. Divide and rule.
Now, Rambo,
again, that's one interpretation.
I got to interject again. Again, you're the first person that ever made that observation to me, and it's dead on point. But still, if you look into Masonic terminology, they do refer to it as the compass and the square. That is how it's referred to. But again, they are secret societies, and sometimes they hide things in plain sight. And it's just like we were reading Manly P. Hall's, I don't know if you heard me reading it the other day, but when he gets to number 2, you know, it has to do with being divided. And again, he was a Mason. The number 2 represents, you know, division in some sense. 2 is a big part of their symbolism with the 2 pillars. And so again, it all fits together very logically, and it does seem like something that is hidden in plain sight. And oh, by the way, for the people out there, the Masons refer to the circle on the top of the divider or compass as the pole star in relation to the, you know, the North Star, the pole star. But pole star has that gematria 47 as well, complementing that 47 degrees on the Scottish Rite compass. Okay, I'm going to try to be quiet again. Sorry, Rambo.
No, that's no problem. These are valuable contributions. So yeah, 47, that's Kamala Harris, will be the 47th. Also, notice in the picture, the bright light in between, at the top, in between the 2 pillars. That's also representative of Sirius, the star. And another thing, Zach, you have a prediction for when Kamala Harris will ascend to the throne, which you said is June 1st. Now,
in 2024, 2024, just so people know, not this year, but I'm thinking in 2024 on June 1st, that's going to be Kamala's day.
Yeah. So June 1st, 2024 is a date in Gemini, and the symbol for Gemini is twin pillar. Twin pillars is one of the symbols for Gemini. So this picture also could be, if your prediction is correct, this her walking in between the 2 pillars of Gemini, in between a Gemini symbol, that also is consistent with your prediction. This could be an indication to that. Then last week, this is my next post. Last week, I talked about how the World Trade Center represented the Temple of Solomon, but I didn't really go in depth. I just I mentioned it quite briefly, but I want to go more in depth on just why I say that the World Trade Center represented the Temple of Solomon, the first World Trade Center. So there are several indicators that the World Trade Center represented the Temple of Solomon. First, the Temple of Solomon's most salient architectural feature, which is its signature element, is the twin pillars. The World Trade Center featured twin pillars. The pillars of Solomon's temple are placed at north and south. The twin towers of the World Trade Center are at north and south. The Temple of Solomon is represented in symbol form by the pillars Jachin and Boaz in Freemasonry, which is Hesed and Geburah in Kamala. The Masonic pillars, if you look at the tracing board for the entered apprentice, they are located at north and south. If you look at the on the tracing board, it indicates north, south, east, west. The pillars are at north and south, just like the World Trade Center pillars. In Freemasonry and Kabbalah, there's a third pillar, a middle pillar. The middle pillar of the World Trade Center was Building 7, known as the Salomon Brothers Building. The name Salomon is the most overt reference to Solomon. When the Freemasonic entered apprentice tracing board is turned horizontally with the cardinal directions in their appropriate locations, with north on the top, south on the bottom, east to the right, and west to the left. When it's rotated that way, the north pillar becomes the Tropic of Capricorn. The south pillar becomes the Tropic of Cancer. The middle pillar becomes the equator. The World Trade Center North Tower, which is Building 1, is the Tropic of Capricorn. The South Tower, Building 2, is the Tropic of Cancer. Simple astrology confirms that Building 1 was indeed the Tropic of Capricorn, and Building 2 was indeed the Tropic of Cancer. And actually, people can look up if they're not familiar with the dates under Capricorn and Cancer. But the North Tower, Building 1, was topped out on December 23rd, 1970, a date in Capricorn. The South Tower, Building 2, was topped out on July 19th, 1971, a date in Cancer. That's not a coincidence. The North Tower, Building 1, the Tropic of Capricorn, is the male pillar. Hence, it supported the antenna, which is a phallic symbol. The Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer are separated by 47 degrees. The third pillar, Salomon Brothers Building, which is the equator, had 47 stories. It was 47 stories high. That's a reference to the difference between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, 47 degrees, which further cements that the Twin Towers as the tropics and the Pillars of Solomon. So I think with all those things, all that can't be a coincidence, how it lines up. So one thing I would say is that the Temple of Solomon is sacred to Jews and Freemasons. So once you establish that the World Trade Center was the Temple of Solomon, then anybody involved in its destruction who identifies as Jewish or as a Freemason is a false Jew and a false Freemason. Because a true Jewish person, a true Freemason would not destroy the Temple of Solomon. So there's some other darker forces that the people involved serve, and some of them will claim to be Jewish and Freemasons, but they're not. You'll know them by their deeds. They destroyed the Temple of Solomon. And I've gone over one of the entities they venerate, which is, I've gone over that. It's Jupiter, which is the nemesis of Mercury. But again, not to say Jupiter is evil. This is very important. In sorcery, multiple entities have multiple facets to them, and depending on the sorcery or what the conjurer wants to invoke, they will appeal to a negative side of an entity. So for this particular ritual, the negative side of Jupiter is what they appeal to. That's not to say that Jupiter is evil, Mercury is good. Mercury has an evil, good, and positive side. Every planet has that. Every sign has a positive and negative. This is what they chose. They choose to venerate the negative side of Jupiter. So 846 is a major number with 9/11. That's when the opening salvo was. The first hit was at 8:46 a.m. It's now become a very famous number. Last week I went over Lou Gehrig. He was a New York native, and he's a New York Yankees baseball legend and just a general New York City icon, Lou Gehrig. And he made the iconic speech whose most quoted line was, "Today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth." This line comes to 846, this now famous number, 846. Well, now we see how I showed how Lou Gehrig is connected. He was born in Manhattan, and he's a Gemini. The symbol for Gemini is twins. So I did the full decode in my last post on Lou Gehrig in detail, but I'm just bringing up with the 846. He's a Gemini, so that's part of the same symbolism, the same pattern. Twin towers, twin symbolism, 846 in his most iconic quote. So 846 has become an anti-police brutality slogan after the killing of George Floyd. But where was George Floyd killed? In Minneapolis on May 25th, a date in Gemini, in the Twin City, Minneapolis. So again, we have that association, Twin Pillars, twins, Gemini, and 846. We saw that with George Floyd. So then most recently it was Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle did a stand-up routine, and it was titled 846. And in that routine, Dave Chappelle revealed that he was born at 8:46 in the morning. And so it turns out that, like I said, the key is Mercury here. The planet Mercury rules the zodiac signs of Gemini and Virgo. So Dave Chappelle, he brings up this 846. He said that's when he was born. Well, it turns out Dave Chappelle is a Virgo. And in Gematria's Jewish cipher, on the Gematria, it's Jewish, but it's most known as the Latin Gematria. Virgo comes to 846. Is that a coincidence that Dave Chappelle said he was born at 846? He's a Virgo. Virgo comes to 846. Again, a Virgo ruled by Mercury. And, 9/11, September 11th is under Virgo as well. So it's interesting how they're all part of the web. So the World Trade Center, it represented the Temple of Salomon. Solomon's father was David. Like the Seal of Solomon, which is the hexagram, the Seal of Solomon is also known as the Star of David because David is the father of Solomon. Well, Dave Chappelle's first name is David. Dave Chappelle in Gematria sums to 110. Each of the twin towers was 110 stories high. David Chappelle sums to 1560, 1560, 1560 in reverse Sumerian. In numerology, a zero has no value, so 1560 is 156. 9/11 is the 156th prime number. So, yeah, David Chappelle is 1560.
Yes, very interesting.
Also, the name Chappelle. Well, I thought you were going to add some.
Oh, I was just talking quietly that is very interesting how all that comes together.
Oh, okay. So the name Chappelle sounds like chapel, Chappelle Chapel, and a chapel is a place of worship, like the Temple of Solomon. So this is my last short post. This is on the goat ritual. I kind of touched on that on Sunday night, GOAT ritual of 2021. And I said, we need to watch out for the GOATs. Well, another GOAT was just in the news, Pele. This is a thing for 2021. Watch all the GOATs in the news now. But so the GOAT symbol, it's popularly demonized for the most part. Particularly, but not exclusively, the Christians, the GOAT represents Satan. The GOAT has been an object of ritual sacrifice primarily. So it's safe to say that being an object of sacrifice and a satanic symbol, the GOAT is it's of inferior stature symbolically. But one exception where the GOAT is a symbol of elite status is in the field of sports, where the acronym GOAT, GOAT, stands for the greatest of all time. So the GOAT, in all senses of the symbol, positive and negative, has a major ritual symbol. So far, it's been a major symbol so far in 2021. And it actually started in 2020, actually late 2020, when a GOAT of football, internationally known as football with soccer in the United States, is Diego Maradona. He's a GOAT of football soccer. He died November 25th, 2020. So that was the start of the GOAT trend. And so then after that, this is more of a positive story. Tom Brady was established as the GOAT of American football after Super Bowl 55 on February 7th. And that was a week before the Roman festival of Lupercalia. As we know, the Roman Empire is still greatly influential in the world and has merely taken on other facades, but it's still influential. And you'll see how, when you decode their beliefs and their symbols, especially the eagle and the fascists, they are still in power, with no doubt. So the Roman festival was Lupercalia, was February 15th. Lupercalia being named after wolf, lupus in Latin. The wolf is a symbol of Rome. And Lupercalia includes the sacrifice of a male goat. So it's a goat sacrifice Roman holiday. So shortly after Lupercalia, in 2021, this year, the GOAT of golf, Tiger Woods, was in the news with a serious car accident. Tiger Woods is a double GOAT, being a Capricorn. The symbol for Capricorn is a goat. Then another GOAT was Pele, was in the news for receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Then you mentioned that in a murder in New Haven, Connecticut, a neighborhood called Goatville, and what a name for a neighborhood, Goatville, was reported, and the suspect's name was Pan, and Pan is the name of a Greco-Roman fertility goat god. So yeah, in Goatville, Pan commits a murder. Like, come on, that's still over the top. Like, this is definitely the year of the goat when stories like that come out. So the GOAT of hockey, I made a mistake here on the article. I put golf, I meant hockey. The GOAT of hockey is Wayne Gretzky. And he was in the news when his father passed away after a battle with Parkinson's disease. And the face of Parkinson's disease, the most famous...
Oh, Rambo, commercial break real quick. We'll be right back, everybody. Sit tight.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
everything in it addresses a real need. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Biden with those comments after the House passed his nearly $2 trillion coronavirus relief package.
This bill represents a historic victory for the American people. I look forward to signing it later this week.
Nearly every Democrat voted yes earlier today.
This is one of the most consequential pieces of legislation we have passed in decades. And you know what we can show America? That we can get things done to make their lives better.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, but Republicans say much of the bill is not related to COVID relief.
It showers money on special interests, but spends less than 9% on actually defeating the virus. But it gives San Francisco $600 million, essentially wiping out 92% of their budget deficit.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, a CDC study finds last year was the deadliest in U.S. history, with the pandemic driving a 15% increase in the number of deaths. That's according to Politico. The Minnesota Supreme Court will not hear the appeal of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who's trying to block a third-degree murder charge in the death of George Floyd from being reinstated.
Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill says a discussion over adding the third-degree murder charge against former officer Derek Chauvin will take place on Thursday morning after the state Supreme Court denied a review of a Court of Appeals decision that the judge must reconsider reinstating the charge in the case. Cahill, who tossed out the charge, says it didn't apply to the case.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo denies the claims of a sixth woman who told the Albany Times-Union newspaper Cuomo groped her in the governor's residence. He said he's never done anything like that. America is listening to Fox News.
Wherever you are, make it Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
You have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question third.
This code has been compromised.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. Got interrupted by the commercial there, and we are going right back to Rambo. He's talking about this season of the GOAT. All right, Rambo, we should be back on.
All right. One thing real quick. About a 9/11, it was done with 111 days left in the year 111. 111 is also symbolic of the three pillars, the two pillars in the middle pillar, 111. That's another way that was coordinated into the ritual. Indeed. So, talking about all the GOAT, it's a big ritual that's been going on this year. And I'll talk about, the GOAT of hockey was just in the news, Wayne Gretzky, when his father passed away after a battle with Parkinson's disease. And when you think of Parkinson's disease, the face of Parkinson's disease, the first person you think of is Muhammad Ali, and he's the GOAT. I mean, he's the one GOAT who kept saying that he was the GOAT. He was, I am the greatest. So, Parkinson's disease is associated with Muhammad Ali as another GOAT. And you even mentioned when I talked about it on Sunday that Leon Spinks, one of his most famous opponents, just recently died. So these are all codes for Muhammad Ali. That's another goat. So the trend continued. Just today it was announced, or within the last couple of days, that the goat Pele is back in the news again. I said keep your eye on all the different goats, because Pele's in the news again. At this time in Brazil, they announced that Rio de Janeiro's iconic Maracanã Stadium will be named after him. They haven't officially done it yet, but they announced that they will do it. They will change the name of. It's a very iconic stadium, very hallowed around the world. It's like a mecca of soccer, football. But they are going to rename the Maracanã Stadium the Edson Arantes do Nascimento. That's Pele's real name. Rei Pele. So Rei Pele means King Pele. Which, now this also invokes the whole corona theme, because King wears a crown, corona, and especially after he just received the coronavirus vaccine, but that's what they're going to call the stadium. But the question has to be asked, why do they wait till now? Pele's 80 years old. He's been idolized, GOAT for decades. They've had all this time to do it. Why are they just doing it now? Well, this signifies that 2021 is the year of the GOAT. That's why they're waiting all this time to do that. Apparently, this is a theme for the year. There's no reason they should have waited this long to honor him. So when you think of GOATs, it also takes you back to 9/11, when President George Bush was famously with some second graders in Florida reading. It's called The Pet Goat, but it is mistakenly known as My Pet Goat. But the story Bush was reading to the children it's called The Pet Goat. It's really not called My Pet Goat, but nonetheless, a goat was part of that ritual. Also, at the Temple of Salomon, goats were sacrificed. And also consider that young humans are called kids. Now, a kid is a reference to an infant goat. So in that respect, I guess all humans are goats then. So people who died in 9/11, I guess those are the goat sacrifices at the Temple of Solomon. But there was George Bush reading the Pet Goat. That's another goat part of the ritual. Now, the author of that book is Siegfried Zig Engelmann. Zig is his nickname. Siegfried Zig Engelmann, author of The Pet Goat that Bush was reading on 9/11, he died on February 15th. So he died on Lupercalia, and Lupercalia is the date of the Roman goat sacrifice. So he writes My Pet Goat. He died on a goat sacrifice anniversary, February 15th. So that book is very much part of the ritual, and the author, Siegfried Zig Engelmann. The name Siegfried Zig Engelmann sums to 119, not by coincidence. So the name Siegfried Engelmann sums to 167. It also sums to 167 in ordinal, which is like a very hugely important ritual date. 167, 16th July. This is a huge day. 16th July is the date of the Council of Wilhelmsbad. That was in Ingolstadt, Germany, at the castle of Meyer Anschel Rothschild, when the Illuminati basically came out and celebrated and announced that they had taken over Freemasonry. That was a Congress of Wilhelmsbad. And that was on 16th July. And so that was a big day for them. Also, the movie Eyes Wide Shut came out on 16th July. And that was the Illuminati whistleblower movie. So what a coincidence that it came out on that date. And Stanley Kubrick couldn't have chosen that date because he died before the movie came out. So 16th July, Siegfried Engelmann sums to 167, like this important date. Now, Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, after 9/11, was made the scapegoat, even though he had nothing to do, but he was a scapegoat. There's another part of the goat part of that ritual for 9/11. That's when you invaded Iraq. Saddam Hussein came to power in Iraq on 16th July, 167, in 1979. So that also, the number refers to Saddam Hussein as well. The atomic bomb of the Manhattan Project, that was successfully tested on 16th July in 1945. The location at which the bomb goes off is known as Ground Zero, as is the location of the 9/11 tower destructions. 167 again, related to this. And now we go back to sports goats. 167 applies to female tennis player Margaret Court, who holds the record for most Grand Slam titles by a female at 24. Her birthday is 16th July as well, 167. Serena Williams has 23, is one behind her. Time's ticking on Serena Williams. So was goat ritual in the news for 2021? That seems to be a theme.
Rambo.
Could this goat...
Rambo, if I'm not mistaken, Serena Williams could win her 24th this year at the U.S. Open in New York on September 11th. So that is very interesting. And I'll remind people, 167 is the 39th prime number in New York, and the most pure cipher is 39. And if you write out atomic bomb, it equals 39. And again, the Manhattan Project, New York... 93 World Trade Center bombing, the reflection of 39. 39 is a real big number in New York, so just that 167 connects to 39 as well. And sorry if you were going to get to that, Rambo, but I just had to chime that in there. So.
No, that's a good addition. I didn't know that the date of the... So that's the date of the women's final is September 11th?
I'm pretty sure the U.S. Open this year for the women is September 11th. Yes, I am.
Okay, well, this ties into what we're saying. We look at the different trends. Once you see where the web is going, then yeah, that looks like pretty strong prediction. Or who knows? Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's a great addition. That's right along the lines with all these elements that I've been pointing out. So yeah, Margaret Court, she's just 167. 167 is an intricate part of this. And
yeah, Rambo.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it.
Rambo. Just so people know, the men's concludes September 12th, and the women's concludes the day before, which is September 11th. So if Serena Williams were to win the U.S. Open, she could tie Margaret Court on 9/11 of all days. So that is interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Those are the decodes for today.
Well, very good work as always. Really appreciate it. And I see Margaret Court's going to turn 79.
Well,
she's going to turn 79 this year. Interesting. Yeah. Anything else you want to chime in there with?
No, I mean, there's always something, but yeah, I think you've been generous with the time.
Oh,
I'll add some things later.
You can stay as long as you like, Rambo. And how about that? We have a new critic rising up. His channel is mostly kind of bashing what we're doing over here because they're saying that none of this has anything to do with man, and it's all controlled from the demonic realm. How do you feel about that statement? That man has nothing to do with the things we're talking about. It's all from the spiritual world, essentially.
Yes, but there are men who are invoking forces from the spirit realm. I've always said that this is sorcery. 9/11 was an epic act of sorcery, and it was centuries in the making. And the reason it was centuries in the making because it's at the cusp, at the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. That change of an age, a new age brings a new energy, like a new dynamic. It's a big power shift. They don't want a power change. So they knew between the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius, a major ritual had to happen. So it was centuries in the planning. I mean, obviously, like hundreds of years ago, they didn't know it would be New York, but eventually they zeroed in on that. So yes, it is demonic forces, but those demons were invoked by humans.
Right, and I think that's a good way to put it. So to say that there's no human involvement, I feel like is a very misleading statement. But yeah, spelling, spells, spell casting, creating language. It seems that again we've been built. We've been born into a world built by essentially these sorcerers who maintain the world this way. That's the way I see it.
I mean, if you see, some people see the world as a matrix, I think the major people like Elon Musk, he believes that our material world is a computer generated, it's a matrix basically, and even science indicates that the atoms are not solid. You can only keep splitting an atom to infinitely microscopic levels. It never stops. It's not solid. So some people use that to say, well, the material world is not really physical. Well, if that's the case, and it is a computer program, what it is they know, those on top, whoever they are, quote unquote, seem to know how to manipulate the laws of the matrix, if that's how you see it. And if you don't see it as a matrix, there are still laws of the universe that they know how to manipulate, and they don't want us to know about it. They discourage us from using it. So they'll say, like, you're either anti-science and superstitious, or the religions, or the main sources of mind control, the mainstream, especially the Abrahamic religions, say, don't touch that, it's all satanic. They say, don't do it. And those who are telling you not to do it, they do it, of course, because that gives them an advantage. So, yeah, sometimes it's just manipulating the laws of the universe, or if you want to see it as the rules of the matrix, they know the program. So that's part of what it is as well. Because you wonder, why do they have to keep doing this? Like, you can figure out, you've proven you can figure out sports results, and they know about you. So why don't they just stop using Gematria then for the sports result? They don't stop because they have to, because those are the rules of the matrix. They can't decide not to do it. Like, all these symbols, like covering one eye and stuff. Like, even when you're onto them doing that, they still have to do it. There's some rule that's dictating to them that they have to do these things. Even when you figure it out, they won't stop. Because I guess it has something to do with the rules of the matrix, if you want to call it that, or the laws of...
Sure. And I think another one of those laws that they realize is only so many people are ever going to understand that, and it's probably not enough to threaten us unless they organize a network against us. So, anyhow.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But even if there was a large amount that understood this kind of knowledge, in general, is never understood by. It's only ever really understood by a small amount of people. That's really how it's always been.
Yeah, that's expressed in many teachings.
But yes, a relatively small amounts of people can make major changes. But yeah, it does help if more people are aware. That's why they do the divide and conquer, which again goes to that sign. I mean, one of the interpretations of that Freemason symbol, if you acknowledge that that's a divide and rule.
Indeed. Yeah, brilliant observations as always, Rambo. I really appreciate it. The only thing I would chime in with about what you brought up is, again, Bush was number 43, and again, the election came down to Florida, where he was the day of September 11th, where his brother Jeb Bush was the governor at the time, and his brother was the 43rd governor of Florida, like how he became the 43rd president of the United States, and his father was the 43rd vice president. And again, in Gematria, with the most simple cipher, Yale is 43, Goat is 43, and you had the Goatville death by Yale the night before the Goat ritual with 43-year-old Tom Brady in Florida in Super Bowl 55 when the Goat's related to Satan, and Satan equals 55 in the most simple cipher. And again, Brady happened to be 43, this record age for winning the Super Bowl, and the whole Tom Brady thing started with the New England Patriots right after the Patriot Act, right after 9/11, in the first year that 43 was in office. And again, just the fact that he was reading My Pet Goat, and Goat's 43, and if I didn't say so already, Florida equals 43. The letters even DC, when you think about it, D's the fourth letter, C's the third, D 4-3. So, and Masonic is 43, coming back to those pillars and everything. But yeah, really great catch on the author and his date of death on Lupercalia and how it all brings it together. Well done, Rambo. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
All right, friend. You have a good night.
All right. Have a great rest of the show.
All right. Take care, friend.
All right.
And Rambo's listening right now, but people every week will ask, where's Rambo's YouTube channel? Rambo does not have a YouTube channel yet. I'm sure there will be one someday. And right now he's posting, a few times a week, sometimes once a week, at gematriaeffect.news. Just search the Rambo's Corner section. You can bring up all of his posts ever. You'll be reading for hours. Go to the Rambo's Corner section of gematriaeffect.news. If you just search Gematria Effect News on any search engine, it should pull up the website. Get to the Rambo's Corner section, and all his brilliant posts are right there. And before we go out to the calls, I just want to point out something. One of the breaking headlines this evening: Brazil plunges into crisis as a second wave and deadly new variant overwhelm hospitals. And then you read the opening sentence from CNN. A second wave of COVID-19 is ripping through Brazil, pushing hospitals and ICUs toward collapse and claiming record numbers of daily deaths. Remember, the Event 201 coronavirus outbreak simulation begins in Brazil. And remember what happened in Brazil. That's where Agenda 21 was agreed to, which was in the 90s, aiming for the start of 2021 by having this major plan in motion to change the way people live, to reduce travel, reduce, consumption, reduce people commuting to work. And think about how all of those things are happening because of the coronavirus pandemic. And remember, coronavirus has the same gematria as climate change, as Society of Jesus. That special number 56. Today, the African Prime Minister of the Ivory Coast, dead at 56. Suspicious death, that magic number, that number of the Jesuits who are the driving force of the New World Order. And again, remember, one of the Jesuit symbols is the umbrella, and the reason why is because an umbrella can only be taken down from within, like the way you close an umbrella, it can only be taken down from within, and that's one of the Jesuit tactics, to infiltrate from within. So that umbrella symbolism, the umbrella symbolism was all over the autonomous zone in Seattle, which is all part of this COVID, Black Lives Matter, Society of Jesus, ongoing rituals, and it was right next to the Jesuit University, Seattle University, only 27 Jesuit universities in the nation. But breaking headline tonight, I'll look more into it. But again, and also today CNN has up this data that maybe it was too early. It might be too early for Texas to reopen. This could go really bad. Just realize that's what they keep doing to us. Do you guys realize that over the course of a year? Tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary of the pandemic being declared by the World Health Organization. March 13th will be the 1-year anniversary of Donald Trump declaring the national emergency, which was a date with 56 numerology, 56 years after he started his Jesuit education, Trump. When again, coronavirus is 56, Society of Jesus is 56, Washington, D.C. is 56. Again, the Jesuits love this number. Their major operations throughout history, they put the 56 stamp on it. Adolf Hitler equals 56. Supposedly committed suicide at age 56. Nobody ever found his body. A lot of rumors he was protected in Argentina by the Catholic Church for the remainder of his days. I can't confirm it, but a lot of historians say that's what happened. Hey, makes a lot of sense to me. Where did the first Jesuit Pope come from? Argentina. Down in this same region of the world. The Jesuits have conquered the world. We're living in their world, using their calendar, using their language, living out their rituals as they control the masses. And anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's go out to the first caller tonight, Michigan. How you doing, Michigan?
Hey, good.